Hey everybody and welcome. This is another table ready live stream and we're all here and all ready to go. Today we are going to talk early war in Flames of War. So we started with version 4 in mid-war, we've gone all the way through and we're just about finished late war. But can you still play early war? So that's what we're going to be doing. But in case anybody doesn't know who we are, I am Harry from Fog of War, and I run a YouTube channel talking about Flames of War, Team Yankee, Battlefront, games like that. And my friend over here is Adam. Who are you, Adam?
G'day, I'm Adam. A bit of a Flames of War fan for a couple of years now. I run a little business called Dice of War, which you can get a lot of your historical Team Yankee and Flames of War dice and for bolt action and other things like that. And I even wrote the odd article for Battlefront and run a few tournaments. So, yeah.
And Kristian, who are you?
Hi guys, I'm Kristian. So bit of a Flames of War fan. Started a YouTube channel called Painting Panzers, where I primarily paint Flames of War stuff. But I've just started to dabble in some smaller aircraft. But yeah, on the Flames of War front, love it.
So we've got a couple of people in the comments already. So Alad's there. Hi, Alad. And Samurai Granata Brew. Yeah. Oh, and Trekan. Hello, Trekan. Hi from Germany. Yeah, we've got a couple of comments.
Yeah, hey guys.
Samurai saying, I've never considered early war because of the lack of Shermans. There is a distinct lack of Shermans in early war.
Yeah.
In fact, they don't turn up until late in mid-war.
That was my same problem. There was no Tigers, so I wasn't interested at the start. So.
Well, apparently there's Panthers in mid-war now, so that would have been good. But early war's not my thing either. Oh, Kristian seems to have fallen off. Hopefully we'll get him back.
He just doesn't like early war. That's it. He's gone.
He doesn't like early war. Okay, no, he must have gone. Which is a shame because we were going to talk to him about. Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
About that,
hey.
No idea what happened there. I think I was trying to log in to chat away, but I'll leave that for next time.
All right, fair enough. So, Kristian, you actually had a good week this week with stuff. Before we get on to talk about early war, let's talk about that.
I've been posting like 15-second shorts just to update whoever's interested in what I'm up to, and just posted a video, and within like 20 minutes I had something like 2,000 views on one of the smaller scale aircraft that I'm painting. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. A bit different to my usual 4 after about an hour. So yeah, it's interesting.
And what aircraft were they? Let us know.
It was the let me get this right, Brewster Buffalo. So I'm painting early war Pacific or mid-war Pacific, 1942. So Brewster Buffalo in Singapore and a Curtis Mohawk, a P-36, I think it is, for the Dutch East Indies in Java. So I know the English and the British, the Aussies, the Dutch, they all fought together in Indonesia when the Japs invaded. So I wanted to sort of make a mashup force, just have Dutch Air Force, British models, whatever else.
Because I interviewed an Australian pilot who flew Buffaloes, and the Buffaloes we got were ones that were in crates on a container ship in Fremantle when the Dutch East Indies fell. So we nicked them and put them together and flew them off the golf course on what would later become Perth Airport. So yeah, he was talking about they nicked their first Brewster Buffaloes.
From all account, the Dutch Air Force in the Pacific actually performed really well compared to like the British Air Force, and that they actually scored quite a few victories, but they were just overwhelmed by numbers and such. So yeah, it's interesting.
It was quite modern, I think, for the time, and also they practiced using a lot of alternate airfields. So instead of just basing out of one area, they based out of a lot of different areas. Like they had alternate airfields set up because they knew they had to cover so much.
Yeah, they hid a few as well, so they kept them a bit of a secret. But obviously, the Japanese are really good at their reconnaissance at the start of the war, so they found them pretty quickly.
Yeah. but at least you could operate from like fields and stuff like that. You didn't need long paved runways like jets.
Exactly. Yeah. Easily hidden. Mm.
So the kits you were looking at, they were Mark 1.
So they're
the
Mark
brand, wasn't it?
1 to 144th scale. Mark 1. The Brewster Buffalo kit is fantastic. So if anyone's interested in that, I'd really recommend that one. The Curtis Mohawk, the P36, and not so much. Maybe it's my modelling skills, but it was definitely tricky. So I might give that one a miss in the future.
So Adam, you had some of those you wanted for your forces, didn't you? Of those
Which one,
type of kit.
You
had some Mackeys.
Yeah, so I've got some. I picked up some Fiat
G50s,
50 BIS Mackeys, so they're going to be for my desert force. And then I've got some Mackie C200 AS. Now, these are for the Eastern Front. I know
you very quickly took away the Hello Kitty branding on the front of that box.
Included.
So they did have a normal-looking box previously on a previous version, but I guess this was the second version, the kit that they still have available for sale. It's a really good kit. I actually built it before I realized it was the wrong, because I'm a bit of a obsessive compulsive sort of guy. This is the wrong plane for the desert. This is the Eastern Front plane, and this one is the desert plane. So now I've got to get them repainted. So but that's my plan for them.
Because we had a bit of a spirited discussion about 144th scale aircraft, didn't we? Because I have previously been an aircraft modeler, and I quite enjoyed building the Su-22 for Team Yankee, to the point where I ran off and bought some MiG-21s, and I just dropped the MiG-29 on the floor. There we go. So I got a MiG-29 to play with. Had full intentions of reviewing those, and I even bought Edouard to do MiG-21s as well. It's a tiny kit. Where are we? It's absolutely minute. Even next to the 144th scale Su-22, it's tiny. So at some stage, I may get around to reviewing those in the future.
You should see the size of the Brewster Buffalo. It doesn't even take up the palm of your hand.
They are small aircraft.
Yeah.
That's because they come with two in a box, don't they?
Yeah, but it even has like the antenna. The Curtis Mohawk has the pedo tubes, those tiny little pedo tube on there. It's insane. But yeah, it's cool to paint.
Samurai says, I would super recommend the Tamiya 1/100th planes. They're the same scale as the tanks. And for Team Yankee, make great terrain. I haven't actually seen those yet.
No, I haven't.
Pardon me. So is it crashed objective, or for both using them in-game and...
Surely it would be for in-game. Because the Flames of War stuff's 1 to 100th, isn't it? So
except for the planes. All the planes are...
Yeah, planes are 144th.
But the helicopters are 1 to 100.
Yeah.
Right.
I think their thing is they're supposed to look smaller from above, like when you're looking down on the battlefield with our God's eye view. I don't know.
Actually, but I'm painting up a Yonkers 87 that's a Battlefront kit, and it's huge compared to the 1 to 144 scale planes I'm working on. It's massive. Like it's a bigger scale. I should do a comparison shot. But I'm talking huge. It's huge compared to the other stuff.
What, the resin one?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got this Vesta plastic 144th scale one, and that's a tiny little aircraft.
Anyway.
Anyway, but we're not here to talk about 144th scale aircraft. That was just kind of a fun thing that happened during the week. What we want to talk about is early war. So we've got a couple of comments about early war already. Michael says, my only problem with gaming early war is what tanks there are cost so many points it's hard to include more than a few. Yeah, fair enough.
That's also the positive of early war. So it's not tank spam.
It's not tons of tanks,
focused.
yeah.
Is it armoured cars? Is it armoured car and light tanks?
I think armoured cars are expensive too. I don't think, especially the Germans.
It's tankettes, horses, and motorbikes.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I saw a knockdown drag-out fight between cavalry and French motorcycles and tankettes. And it was the French motorcycles that actually won in the end. But seeing motorcycles assaulting tankettes was just great. So yeah, we did an early war tournament a little while ago, and it was kind of fun.
It was awesome.
We
Yeah,
really
I
did
love
enjoy that. Oh, Subcommandante's joined in. Hi there. So yeah, we want to talk about early war. So these are some Mark VI light tanks for the British, aren't they, Kristian? You painted these ones.
Yeah, they were painted a year or so ago. I think for the last early war tournament that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. Again, this is like a tank. It's only got machine gun, so there's not much it can do. A Vickers machine gun.
There's a 50 cal Vickers machine gun and a 30 cal coax or something. Yeah.
No, just the Vickers, I think, from memory. Oh no, it must do. No, it's got twin. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
It's got two.
Yeah. So let's talk about what you need. So Flames of War, the rule book for version 4 came out and they started in mid-war. So what they did was they actually gave away free books to version 3 players to handle early war and late war that they didn't have rules for yet. And they've slowly been filling that in. So all the late war stuff now has version 4 rules for it. But what you started off having is these conversion books, which basically had the version 4 rules, but for use in the non-version 4, with the non-version 4 source books. So you could still use your version 3 lists, but these gave the current, I think, is it referred to as version 3.5 quite a bit that people talk about?
3.5.
People usually call it 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd need those. I'm guessing you could probably use the version 4 straight rulebook if that's all you've got, and just run your early war tanks and stuff with that, and that would be fine. You might have to use, so in the useful download section on the Battlefront website, the Flames of War website, there are a bunch of things, like there is a lessons for the front specifically for early war, which we might have a quick look at in a minute, but that's kind of what you need.
I guess you can probably get away with using just the V4 rulebook, but I guess it hasn't got that sort of stuff in it about the redundant command and staff teams.
That's all in lessons from the front, though. So so it's not in the book itself; it's in the lessons from the front. So it's mostly the mechanics.
I'm almost certain the one that the tournament that Corey ran, we used the version 4 book, and then we just used lists from version 3 and the special rules. Yep.
So Alad says he likes the idea of early war. It would be Desert first and then Battle of France. Yep. And Victor Denbach says where to get early war models. Most seem unobtainable. We will talk a little bit about that when we come up to that. We've got a plan for that. And Adam's saying yes, a lot of them are. In fact, I remember that Kristian stole a whole bunch of British Desert stuff for the last game before I managed to get into our local retailer. So I had to buy them for about $10 billion from Battlefront.
Gotta be quick, Harry.
I beat you, mate.
Yeah, you beat me. Fair and square, you beat me. All right, so those are the rule books you need. So you can use the version 4 rule book, or if you can find someone who's got the conversion rule book. I did see some of them, so people are selling them for like $10 or $11 on eBay. So if you want to pick those up, then you absolutely can do that. These are the source books for early war. So there's Blitzkrieg, which is the Battle of France.
There was a Japanese one.
There is, but it's not the Japanese you think. So Blitzkrieg is the Germans in the Battle of France, basically. Hellfire and Back's British in the desert. And I think they're not nation-specific. I think Hellfire and Back covers...
Yeah, all of them.
France.
All of them.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got the Italians and the Germans in the desert. Burning Empires has a whole bunch of Italian stuff in it, as well as the Long Range Desert Group and
special.
SAS.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Rising Sun, which is actually Japan versus the Russians,
Yeah,
because it's very early war.
And the Finnish Winter War.
And the Finnish Winter War. So that's that, because you don't get into the Marines and those things until mid-war.
Yeah, Trekken's actually right there. He's saying that there's another book, which is Barbarossa.
Oh, is there one? Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. Sorry about that, gang.
So they brought that out just before, well, not very, maybe a year before they brought out B4. I think they did the Barbarossa. Yeah.
Cool. All right. That's great. Alad says, lol, missed the word early war. I think I have to paint up a desert army first, then move on to the Battle of France. Expect I will base for Flames of War, but play O Group until Battlefront or someone updates the period. Because I remember there was talk that Osprey were actually going to do it the same way that they did with NAM and Fate of a Nation, that they were going to take it on. And then COVID happened and people stopped talking about it. And now, as far as I know, there are no actual plans, not that I have heard of. So yeah, that might or might not be happening. So those books are still available. I know our local retailer actually has most of those on the shelf. In fact, I've got Burning Empires, and I think I got that as a prize at the last tournament. Yeah. I did.
Burning Empires is my favourite, like V3 book. I think it's sensational. I love the forces in there.
But as people have said, you'd have a very hard time getting some of the long-range desert group miniatures and things like that for it now. So there is actually an online forces builder. So you can actually go and... So this is the Australians that I built for, I think, the 9th Infantry Division for my Australians for the early war desert with Matildas and what have you. So forcesv3.flamesofwar.com, and you can actually go and buy the lists and build your stuff. So you don't have to buy the books. You can actually go to the online forces builder.
Which is interesting, though, because didn't they release all the books as PDFs for free?
I think I thought I heard something about that.
I might have to go back and have a look at that, because
it's interesting. If they've released all the books for free, then you can get the V3 early war books for free, but they're still charging you for the forces stuff. But you can get the books for free, I believe.
Don't take it for gospel that you have to buy the lists. They may have just unlocked them all.
No, I do. I still buy the V3.
No. I mean, as a download, I thought. I can't think of it. I thought they did. There was some link that you could download all the early war books.
I'm sure they released all the V3 books, or most of them anyway. I know.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So you don't even have to buy them.
I'll look into that.
Well, that'd be nice. And if we do, we'll update. So I've put links to all of these in the description of this on YouTube. And if anybody wants to have a look at those, that's great. And if we find the other, the free books, we'll definitely add that link to the list. So yeah, there's an online forces builder. Adam, you used this recently, because we're going to talk about Adam's early war list a little bit later on. How did you find using this?
Yeah, so I mean, I used to do the old V3 list back in V3, but then you get used to the way V4 does it. It's pretty similar. I guess the difference is now that everything's on the one page, or your support, so all your support's there, and your weapons platoons. But yeah, I found it all right. Germans, good Germans in early war have cost just as much as they do in mid-war and late war. So you don't get much. You don't get much bang for your buck with Germans. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. It was the same. I just I think when I built my list, I probably emphasized more on infantry and anti-infantry, and perhaps didn't put enough into anti-tank. yeah, looking at the comments from, because I've never played early war. It was one of those things that when I started Flames of War, I was playing Italians in mid-war, moved on to Germans and other things, but no one locally played early war. I really wasn't interested in early war. It's not till later that I kind of thought, well, if I was going to play, I'd either do Germans or maybe French.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because early war wasn't my thing, but they did an early war tournament here, and it was a lot of fun.
It was, yeah.
And again, motorcycles, cavalry. So my British desert guys, early war desert guys, were being charged by Italian cavalry against fixed machine guns, and it went about as well as you might expect.
I took LRDG to my first early war tournament and came up against Japanese. So that was an interesting fight.
Yeah, that would have been unusual.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, you know, bicycle troops, motorcycle guys, and a motorcycle with a machine gun on it is a fairly decent unit in early war. It's not a joke. It's, you know, they'll sneak up on you and do things to you, unpleasant things. So yeah, that's the online forces builder. You will need to, so there is actually a separate lessons from the front for early and late war in version 4. And there are a bunch of things that you'll need to do to convert stuff. So the first one there is the redundant teams points rebate. So all of the command teams go away because they're not, you don't get those in version 4, but you actually get a rebate for them. So my Australians actually got about 60 points of rebate for command teams that I could spend on more machine guns.
More DACA.
Yeah, more DACA, absolutely. But just you have to go through and so my Australians are all fearless veterans, so I got a whole ton of points back for stuff that I couldn't field anymore, like HQs and.
They would have been just as expensive as the Germans then.
Yeah, they were pretty expensive, but the only thing is, so I always take sticky bombs, and the only thing I've ever killed with sticky bombs are my own team. So every time I try and do it, if you roll a 1 on your attack with sticky bombs, you actually blow up your own team. And
awesome.
Every time I assault with them, these guys they stick it to themselves, and it all goes wrong.
That was the same with the Italian Passaglia teams. They're like Molotov cocktails or something. And yeah, my guys just fry themselves. Burnt spaghetti.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the lessons from the front. Again, that's on the useful downloads page of the Flames of War website, so that's worth looking at. They also nerfed aircraft a lot because in version 3, aircraft were slicing through armor like you wouldn't believe. So they have adjusted all the anti-tank. So you can see things like aircraft that had an anti-tank of 15 had it dropped to 11, 12 dropped to 9, 11 dropped to 9, that kind of stuff. And the machine guns and cannon rate of fire and firepower changed. Except for Rudel, apparently.
He's too good.
Yeah. So again, there's a bunch of stuff in the lessons from the front that you have to take account of. So it's worth having a look at that for the specific lessons for the front for early war. And version 3 didn't have unit cards, so unit cards was a big thing introduced in version 4. So what you actually get is an arsenal, and you get all the same information on there, like front armor, side armor, top armor, rate of fire, anti-tank, firepower, that kind of stuff. But it's just laid out differently. So this is my Australians. So they've got some Matilda 2s with 2-pounder guns. And there's fun stuff like, for example, slow tank. There's a conversion into version 4 about how that works and how far you can't move. They do not leap gazelle-like across the table. They absolutely do not. So yeah, you'll get an arsenal entry that you need to refer back to rather than unit cards. So Adam, your Germans, you had an arsenal entry for them?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I had too many horrible looking things. It was mostly Panzer Knackers, I guess. I think they're one thing that doesn't blow up in your hands, apparently, when you roll a 1. So,
Yeah, no, They just give you an anti-tank of 4 or something, I seem to recall.
Yeah. So I added those to the command teams and the platoon leaders of the 2 infantry platoons that I had. Apart from that, it was pretty much just listed the gun stats. So yeah.
So these are the things that Kristian stole so that I didn't get any. So there are lots of unique units in early war. So for example, the British all have 2-pounder guns. But I don't have them mounted on trucks like this. This is the 2-pounder Portee, where, basically they tool around the desert with anti-tank guns stuck on the back of trucks. So there's lots of...
The Italians did a lot of that too. I was looking into doing some, what are those things called? The Saharinas. They're long-range desert, kind of like the SAS kind of thing. But yeah, they were all different guns on the back of those.
The good thing about the Portees as well is you can opt to just use them as anti-tank, so you can dismount them. And you can just have a gun team opposed to a tracked gun team.
So Paco Flores says, I love raid missions, never enough Saharianas for me. Not only early war, but Spain in Flames of War too. It's really difficult to convert early or SIF to V4. So Spanish, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. The Spanish, they had the Blue Division, didn't they, in World War II, fighting with the Germans, I think.
Can't recall, to be honest.
Yeah, no idea.
Paco,
there are...
no, I'm pretty sure it's a Blue Division.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about with this too, though, is obviously early war models are not a production priority for Battlefront. So we laughed about running out of things, but our local hobby shops are emptying of all their old early war stock. It got raided, Harry, pretty hard. Yeah.
That's because you, Kristian and I, are the ones raiding it, but... Yeah.
I don't think we're the only ones anymore, mate.
When we did that tournament, we stripped tactics bare. No, we were fossicking around, pulling stuff out. And not just Battlefront stuff either. So, for example, there are very cool early war British tanks from Plastic Soldier Company. And somebody was mentioning the 8-wheel... German reconnaissance cars. Yeah, the 8-rads. Plastic Soldier make a really nice version of that too, which is in my review pile of shame that one day I might get to and have a look at. They look like a lot of fun. But it is a case... Sorry, what's that?
That's my issue with PSC. There's no magnet slot. I like magnets. There's no magnet slot. Yeah,
not an issue for me. So we'll have to fight that battle one day as well. Magnets or not magnets. Stock levels, I managed to get some extra 2-pounder guns, but I had to pay the shipping, the 40% international shipping to get them direct from Battlefront. So that hurt, but I've got them now. So my list always had 2 2-pounder guns because that's all the 2-pounder guns I could have. So now I can have 4.
I will make you feel better though, Harry. I only managed to source 2 of these from Tactics, and I had to have a friend in Spain send me another 2 across.
Couple. Okay, fair enough.
I had to pay shipping too. I feel the pain.
Yeah, fair enough.
And not 40%.
And Alad says, may not be a viable option for Australia, but lots of metal early war suitable models on the Skytrek site. Yeah, so there are alternative manufacturers for stuff. Where you can get early war stuff if you can't get Battlefront stuff. But they had a big range of very obscure and specialist early war.
Great range, yeah, it was a great range.
Yeah.
I do think they're going to redo it down the track. I'm
certain they will.
I think like COVID stuffed the factory up, and everything else. So I think they're just that far behind in their production. Like Yeah.
And again, early war must be pretty niche. I mean, that can't be. I mean, they'd rather sell us lots and lots of King Tigers than half a dozen Portees. You know.
But you say that I think we've had the same amount of early war tournaments in Perth since I've been playing anyway, and the same amount of late war. So it's mid war that we don't play a lot of. It's either early or late. I think I've been in 1 mid war. I've been 3 early war and 3 late war.
Well, I think that's because Corey and Dan prefer early war.
I was pushing early war as well.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't like early war wasn't my thing, but I bought a couple of BEF guys with the 2-pounder guns to start with, and now I actually have a whole ton of early war stuff. We'll have to do it again. We'll have to start hammering people and getting another tournament happening.
I think we'll get a lot of numbers for an early war tournament.
Fair enough. And Allard was just being cheeky saying that... Trekan was being cheeky saying Adam and Kristian would love this stuff because it's all resin and metal.
They're forged in battle. Yeah, I've got a few of their things.
Not only forged in battle, but the early war Battlefront stuff too. There's no plastic in any of this.
Metal infantry, here we come.
Yeah, I've got some metal slatch hat Australians for early war desert that I ended up with a blister of that I'll have to base.
Yeah, I've got great.
Oh, more bloody knees. God, I hate painting knees on desert British troops. It's like the Boy Scouts went to war. It's like, put some pants on for God's sake.
Paco said that the Spain in Flames, SIF is Spain in Flames. So it's a specific
cool.
standalone rulebook they did for the Civil War.
That's interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Wow, okay, I hadn't heard about that.
How do we get our hands on that, Paco?
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Another force to paint. Add it to the list.
Actually, my favourite one, unofficial add-on, was the B-29 with atomic bomb.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like 995 points with a 5-point observer.
Yes. That's it. That's all the list you need, Harry.
Yeah.
I think that was that April Fool's one?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Early war was uncommon in South Texas when I was growing up, but mid-war was extremely popular back in V2, V3. Always intrigued by early war, but needed more interest in my friends. Yeah, you'd have to get people who would share your interest.
Yeah, for me, that's the biggest thing. You've got to have at least 2 guys that like the period, because otherwise it's just one guy building an army that he's probably not going to.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, to be attacked by cavalry and tankettes...
Somebody's house is on fire.
My wife's just burning something. Hang on.
It's one of those things, though, Harry, isn't it? Like, a lot of people just assume early war is just infantry. They don't actually think about all the other little unique things, or they don't know about it that's in early war. So it's a completely different ball game to mid and late war in terms of what you can use and the cool stuff you see floating around.
And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. You know, learning how to deal with motorbikes that can tear around the battlefield. Tiny tankettes, but I mean, if you've got mostly infantry, then, you know, your anti-tank rifles, boys' anti-tank rifles can do some damage. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was more fun than I was expecting.
It's just a nice change-up of watching tanks go blow for blow with each other and rounds bouncing off. And
what, you mean like having Shermans follow around Ferdinands that they can't even bail?
No comment.
Yeah, no comment. But yeah, it is hard to get the units, but as we've talked about, there are other manufacturers.
Well, and as Alan points out, if you've got a mate with a 3D printer, the new resin 3D printers these days, like, where's that truck? Like, I've got stuff off a mate recently, and
yeah, I posted stuff about printing some Australian APCs and things like that. Yeah, on 3D printers, they are getting there. No, that is a good point, Alad. So this is Adam's list. So part of what we decided we wanted to do was, Kristian and I have played early war and we have our lists, but Adam, you were coming at early war fresh. So what did you build?
So I built a Schutzen company, and the reason I did that is because at the moment I'm kind of planning a German V4 Iron Cross mid-war list, which is the fast company, which is, I don't know, I like the idea of it. It's an infantry company mixed in with an armored car unit as part of its core, and everything can be mobile. So I really like that, and I was pretty sure there was something in early war that was similar with Barbarossa, which is a shooting company, and yeah, it turns out it's just as expensive to field Germans in mid-war as it is early war. So they're confident.
So you chose 1,250 points, didn't you?
Well, I was told. I'm blaming Kristian. It's all his fault.
It wasn't me. I said 1,500.
But 1,200 to 1,500 is a standard sort of tournament layout. I think our last tournament was like 1,350.
1,500. Damn it. 1,500. Anyway.
1,500. Okay.
But
so let's go through what you took.
Yep. So I've got a Schützen Company HQ, which is 2 guys with snazzy Panzer Knackers and SMGs, and they got a motorcycle.
2.
Zoom.
2 motorcycles.
Yeah, so they're burning around on their motorbikes.
So Panzer Knackers are those improvised, like 7 grenade heads on 1 grenade stick grenade type things, aren't they? Or those magnetic?
But they're all the magnet ones. So they had 2 types. They had basically the potato mashers, where they strapped another 6 potato mashers around it and went.
Yeah.
Or they had the magnet ones, which was that they would
and that was a shaped charge.
Yeah, so they would have some crazy guy run up, put it on the back of a T-34 while it wasn't looking, and then hope he could make it back before he got shot.
Man, that's so much better than sticky bombs.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So much of my poor British end up sticking the bloody sticky bombs to themselves, or
and it's funny though. Like,
let's make an anti-tank weapon out of glass, and then we'll put some sticky stuff on the outside of it.
Yeah,
a bit of glue. That's what's needed.
What can go wrong?
Only Japanese have that mine that's on a stick, and they literally just run and kill themselves.
Is it the Nikki Haku teams or something? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And it's like, is the stick long enough? Yeah. Can I have the longest stick, please, Sergeant? Oh, man.
And, so
you got
everyone's got a Panzer Knacker. So the Schützen platoons, there's 2 of those. They got a light mortar, an anti-tank rifle, lots of MG teams, and lots of trucks to burn around in. So it looks like I'm painting lots of trucks and lots of motorbikes.
You're paying a lot of money, but you've got Confident Vet, you've got all MG teams, so that's Raider 5-3 in early war, which is fantastic. You've got an anti-tank rifle team and a light mortar team. Like, your machine gun platoon is probably redundant at that point. You wouldn't need it.
Well, yeah, that was something that was brought up. I put this on some of the Facebooks, and they were saying, well, you probably don't really need the machine gun team. And I've got a mortar platoon, so we've got 4 mortars, I think. I can't see.
Yeah, we'll go through the support stuff in a second. I've got that on the second slide, because I tried to make it so that someone could at least read this if they had a go.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
But lots of KFZ 15 field cars, KFZ 70 trucks. Mm-hmm. So it's not King Tigers, is it? It's definitely not.
Where's the Panzer?
It's none of those. The biggest tank I've got or vehicle is, I think, a Panzer 38 or a Panzer 35.
Well, let's look at your support choices then.
Yeah.
So in your weapons platoon, you've got your mortars, and more motorcycles. Now there are a bunch of teams in here that would be redundant, aren't there?
Mm.
Yeah, so the command SMG team and the observer team, I think, would both go.
Yep, and you'd get points rebates for that you can spend on more stuff.
What, 20 points? 20 points there, and they get another 10 points from the HMG team, but it's going to go anyway.
Your observers? I think you can opt to keep them, though, can't you?
I don't know.
No, I think the observer rifle teams go.
I'm sure you could opt to keep them, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Kristian was cheating again in the tournament.
Yeah,
no, I didn't have observers this time, fortunately.
I cashed in all of mine for my 25-pounders because I just didn't need them because people kept running up to them. It was great. So yeah, you got mortars and infantry guns. So what was the thinking behind the infantry guns?
I just really like those infantry guns. I really like them in mid-war. I really like them in late war, especially in B4. You can take 4 of them instead of just 2. So I find they're quite a good, versatile, light armor anti-tank plus bombardment plus smoke. I really like them. I thought, well,
So have they got a good anti-tank rating as well?
They have in mid-war. They're about 8 or 9, I think, from memory. But no, it might be 7. Where is it? Anyway,
Neil took the IGs in the last early war, and they dominated infantry. They were fantastic. So yeah, I would recommend them as well.
But the British also used their 25-pounders as expedient anti-tank weapons, because I think they've still got anti-tank 8 or 9.
9.
Because I can
9.
Mine are always anti-tank 8, because I take 18-pounders, because I can never pay the points for 25-pounders in early war.
I think 25-pounders for 4 is like 500 points or something, isn't it? It's like half your force.
Yeah, something like that. I never used to leave home without 25-pounders, but I've actually been experimenting with replacing them with mortars. Because I never use them smart anyway. I should use smoke more to stop my Matildas getting perforated by 88s lengthways.
Yeah, it's something I learned the hard way at a tournament, to start using smoke, if I had it. Yeah.
The last game I played in the early war tournament, we were playing long ways on the table, and the guy had 2 88s on a hill, and my Matildas were charging forward at slow tank speeds. They just didn't get very far.
Yeah.
It was like,
by turn 10.
should we just by turn 1? It was like, oh, okay, so they're both dead. So now I don't have anything else apart from all this infantry that's got to walk a long way to get to you. This is not going to end well.
Your Matildas suffered the same fate as mine against those 88s on that hill then. So it must have been we must have both had the same outcome. I think I smoked, and the next turn they were both smoking.
I thought afterwards I should have smoked. I should have blitzed them up as fast as I could to cover somewhere under smoke, but I was busy trying to dig the infantry out with my artillery, and that's a mistake. That was poor play on my part. I was thinking afterwards, smoke would have been my friend there. So, Panzer 38Ts. So you've got a Czech tank platoon, 3 of those, and a pair of 5cm pack 38s.
Yeah.
What's the AT on those 38Ts?
9 or the 6 or 7.
We can find out.
Let's have a look.
6. Okay.
6. So yeah, I wanted to get Panzer
Anti-tank
3s,
9,
but they're stupidly expensive. So I got Panzer 38Ts, and I guess if I had the points, which I'd probably get if I traded in the guys, I'd upgrade them to EFs because they got better armor. And so a couple of guys sort of suggested getting rid of the machine guns and the infantry guns and swapping them out for pack 36s. Because they've got rate of fire 3 each one. They've got decent range. They've still got a good rate of fire, so you can use them versus infantry and tanks.
And your guns don't get no HE, like the 2-pounders.
Trying to blast the Japanese out of the church.
It was funny, in the British in early war, they're like, these anti-tank guns are only used for shooting tanks, so you don't need HE. What are you talking about? That's what
we have a HE round, but you can't have any.
No, well, that's like they're not necessary. Why would you need that? That's not what.
Apparently the 2-pounder has quite an effective HE round.
Yeah, it does. But
it was just never issued.
It was not necessary, Harry, because it's not what AT guns are for shooting at infantry.
Yes, they're AT guns. Says on the tin.
Yep.
So Trekan says, in reality, the Germans stopped enemy tanks not only using the 88 but also the Feldhaubitzer 1805mm howitzers. The Battle of Dubno. Yep.
Yeah. If I wouldn't want to be that close to a KV in a 105mm gun.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But again, they used the sword and shield tactics in the desert so their fast tanks would punch the British in the nose, who would run after them like mad guys, straight into the entrenched 88s. It's like, oh, didn't they do this last week?
Yeah, and they lost.
Didn't work last week either.
Yeah, and like I read one thing where they lost like 2 whole companies, like to 2 or 3 88 sitting on a hill, and it's like, come on, guys, you think after the first 5 or 6 it might,
Yeah, maybe we need some artillery to dig those guys out or something first. No, we could
out.
charge them.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So with your Panzer 38s though, would it be worth spending the money for the ERF? Because your armour's 211. Your armour is not going to get better enough with the extra points to really be worth it in early war.
Yeah, it makes the crews feel better, Harry.
You're going to get, but you're spending points on it. You're going to get perforated. Maybe spend the points somewhere else.
It would depend on how many points spare I had. Because often I got to a point sometimes where it's like, well, I've got these points left over. It's either spend it on this, or I can't really spend it on anything. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That armor rating matches quite nicely with a lot of the British stuff. So like the A10 or 13, whatever it is, that desert tank.
Not a lot of armor.
No, I think it's pretty much
the British doctrine was speed and mobility, so you don't need armor. You're a light cruiser tank. You need to just go really fast, and they can't shoot you.
Yeah,
it's a good list. I think it's a good list. I'll change out the HMGs. I'll change out the HMGs. That'll be my first.
If I could, as a couple of guys suggested, instead of using the Schützen company list specifically, but make one kind of like it. There was infantry platoons that had inbuilt HMGs, kind of like the grenadier platoons in V4 mid-war. That's what I'd probably do. So that way, the
HMGs do good service though in early war. I still think there's a need for those. I'm not sure about the infantry guns. Maybe swap them out for some more anti-tank.
Yeah, I just think
anti-tank's your issue.
I think MG34s.
Yeah. So what I mean is they could get picked off, whereas if they're inbuilt into the platoons, then
fair enough.
You choose who dies,
And because you get some mistaken target.
Yeah.
The British did the bombardment with their HMG, so they're definitely worth taking just on the side.
Yeah. But also a lot of tanks don't have. You can actually do some things to tanks with heavy machine guns in early war, and particularly very, very light vehicles.
Yeah, that's true. Those motorcycles.
Those motorcycles. I mean, those tankettes got perforated up, down, and sideways by French machine guns on motorbikes. Particularly once the motorbikes got around the side of them, and it was just like, nah, bye.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there'd be a few things I'd change. I don't know how many points I'd free up. Maybe, and I don't know, the pack 38's overkill. Should I instead take something like 188 to just, deny an area or scare the shit out of someone instead of the pack 38s, and then have the other ATs?
Depends how gamey you want to be, I think, because pack 38s would be fine. Taking 4 pack 36s or something would be even more thematic for early war. And again, pack 36s, unless somebody brings Matildas or something stupid, they were quite good until they got onto the Eastern Front. So if you're playing against a Battle of France thing or a desert thing, you'd probably be fine.
Even then, all you're going to come up against, like you said, is Matildas or the Char 1Bs or whatever they're called. And they're slow as anything, and you're only normally going to take 2 because you can't afford a third. So they're not going to have much effect on the outcome of the game anyway. So I think they stick with the pack 38s. And I like the Schützen platoon, specifically for the MG teams, because you're going to come up against rifle teams. So rate of fire 1 against rate of fire 3. You're just going to mow infantry down like crazy.
What was the Vickers HMG's rate of fire? 6 or something?
6, I thought.
Yeah, I think they're all 6.
Yeah. I had somebody charged one of those big blobs of Russian infantry at me, at my dug-in 4-gun Vickers machine gun thing, with the 18-pounders next door. So between the 18-pounders and the heavy machine guns, there wasn't much left by the time the smoke cleared. It was interesting to watch. So how you think this is? I mean, I think it's quite a good workable list. There are, if you like the infantry guns, that's cool. They would probably be the first thing I would swap out for something else.
Yeah,
But,
I think.
hey, they might work if they're anti-tank and anti-infantry. You might find them really useful. A good 70 points worth.
Well, they don't have the. I don't think the infantry guns. What have they got? Anti-tank 5 in early war, which is not great. Well, actually, probably is okay, but
Anti-tank 5 is good for most things.
Yeah.
So you can only get 2 for me because they're always.
Yeah. And the morale rules in version 4 really kill teams of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
But then Neil used 2 of those and 288s combined together fantastically. And I think them alone, with his recon, I think he had 8 rads, like won him games. His infantry didn't do anything. It's just, he was always on the defense, and we were charging up with our infantry and just bombarding the crap out of us, and our tanks were just getting annihilated by his 88s. So.
Yeah.
I like them. I'd keep the 18s myself. I think they're a good choice.
I
think Trekan's agreeing with you as well.
Yeah, I think I just wish you'd get more. I know you can't, so yeah. But more. But yeah, look, I'd have to play it and see how it goes. It depends, you know. I've certainly got nothing that could worry a Matilda or what's the French one? The
Char 1B
Char B1. Yeah.
Or B1.
So, Kristian, you took light tanks as well with yours, because I took my British and I had 2 Matildas. That was the only armour I had apart from some carriers.
So I went the Kiwis because they were confident vet, not fearless vet, like the Aussies. So the points are less. So I snuck in those Vickers tanks and the Matildas. Because I played an early war tournament. My first early war tournament was with my LRDG, and they get 1 of those Vickers machine gun tanks. And that was, without doubt, one of my best performing things. I put 4 of them in there, and they perform really well, considering they've got no armor and they've just got a Vickers MG. But when it came up against hordes of Japanese infantry, they just sit there and mow them down.
Yep. Yeah. So I've bought some. That was part of the haul from Battlefront, was me getting some Vickers Mark 6 light tanks. And yeah, I'm definitely willing to try those. I might even end up dropping the Matildas, because to have something more mobile, get the anti-tank through something else. Because I mean, they've only got 2-pounder guns on the Matildas. I mean, the armour scares the heck out of everybody in early war, but again, if you come up against 88s, it doesn't matter what your armour is.
It's funny you say that, because when I finished that last one that we played, the last tournament, I thought, why did I even bring these Matildas for? Purely for the eye candy more than anything, because I've got 4 2-pounders running around on a truck already, and I've got another 2-pounders just protected by armor. I could have got more infantry, loads more infantry for that.
Yeah. And that might have been a better use of points. I agree. Maybe drop the Matildas. It was very good for concentrating people's minds. Like, you stick the Matildas down and people go, that's a big threat in early war. And then you do unpleasant things to them with other things. Well, they're not looking. That's always good. The Matildas did really well against the guy who took the Russians, Tom, bought those multi-turreted T-28s.
T-28s, yeah, he did.
The Russians had. And with the 45mm gun, they didn't last very long.
See, I don't think my Matildas did much at all. I think they were more like an infantry support role, which I suppose was their job anyway. But they didn't even help clear out infantry, dug in infantry. So I think you're right. I never actually thought about it, but I don't think I would take them.
Because I put my Matildas in ambush for that game. That was a big risk, because that was a lot of points off table.
Yeah,
but
that is.
That allowed me just to, whenever he popped up, there was a nearby wood, and it's like, hi, here they are. See ya. Oh
I think I
dear.
was putting my HMGs in ambush more than anything because it's all infantry. So, and like you said,
Yeah,
red
that
5,
would be
6.
useful. Yeah.
So get around early war is what we're saying.
Yeah, early war was a lot more fun than I was expecting, to be honest. So yeah, I'm a bit of an early war convert, and now I've got the force built. I mean, I can use my Desert British for early war because, you know, one guy in short pants with knees is pretty much the same for my Australians. But now I've got the proper Australian infantry to do them with. I'm really looking forward to more knees, I suppose. But, you know. So supply is an issue. And Adam, you were saying you reckon that Battlefront will revisit early war. I'd probably agree with that.
I think I'm pretty sure they're going to. It's just when, like soon, TM.
Yeah.
Like I know there's also talks of the Pacific Theatre.
A lot of people would be waiting for Marines and Japanese.
Yeah, and Australian Commandos. I think that'd be cool. Those.
Oh, that would be fun.
I want some British now. Burma.
Yeah,
and that'd
like
be pretty
Burma
cool.
and Malay and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but because I know there was talk about them doing what you're saying with the Ospreys and the Lanam. I don't know if that's still going ahead or if they're going a different way with that.
So if they went to Osprey, would it be the metal miniatures again? Would they get access to their molds, or would it be?
No. All Osprey does is make the book.
Yeah, they handle the books,
and then Battlefront just sells the figures. I would suspect that they would just redo the molds and put out the resonant metal because I don't know. I don't think early war is a big a seller as like look. I was at a tournament and we had Pete, who owns Battlefront, and some managers and stuff say, look, tournament players are 5% of the market.
Yeah.
For Battlefront. The rest of it is guys playing in their garages with their mates. And everyone wants the King Tigers and the whatever in the late war. So I'm not early war I don't think was as a big of a seller as late war. So that's probably why the focus is on mid war and late war. Yeah. I do think they will redo it, and I would suspect when they do, they will redo the molds, like because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to do those metal figures and the metal resin tanks. That if they were to do it, I would think that's what they're doing. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I don't know.
But yeah, I agree. I think the Japanese would be something that people would be interested in. But again, that's mid-war by that stage, isn't it?
Yeah,
and 42. Was it? No, if you include China and that. So.
Yeah. But that's covered in the Rising Sun book. Yeah.
So I think if they do a Pacific, it'd be something. You know how the Pacific, the Marines and the Japanese, it was kind of like its own little thing. It kind of balanced, but didn't. It was early war, but it was late war. But I think it would probably be something similar because if you look at the British Burma force, for example, it's mostly an armoured fist mid-war force. For the equipment of what they had, and there's the odd late war piece, like a priest or something that they had that, you know. But the Japanese, when you think about it, their equipment didn't change. It was the same 75mm mountain gun. It was the same artillery. It's the same, the tank. There was no better tank. What they had in early to mid-war is what they had in late war. So.
Yeah, so that's my plan. I want to do mid-war British in Burma and Malay. So I'm going to just base it all off the Armoured Fist book because, like you said, the grants that are in there and the infantry, all the equipment's pretty much exactly the same. Yeah. And then maybe just throw in my own cards for aircraft or something.
Yeah.
So Droxlit says plastic Hargo and Chiha tanks in a Japanese starter. One can dream. Yeah. That would be kind of fun, but
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I can't see it being good economic sense.
I think if it was something, what they tend to do now, if it's something that's a black box unit in any of the books,
yeah, they try and do it in plastic.
It will have a plastic mini.
Yeah.
So, or something that they can use for something else. They can see multiple use for it. So possibly you could see plastic, but I wouldn't bet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it.
So, I mean, that's early war fairly well covered. I hope you guys enjoyed that, having a bit of a look at that. Early war doesn't get as much love, but again, I'm a convert. I wasn't happy with early war tournaments, but when I went and played them, I had a lot of fun. Adam, you're the newbie. You are saying things like, you'd like more stuff, there are no super tanks in your list, everything's expensive.
Not super tanks, it's just, I guess I was kind of hoping there'd be a cheap German, but there's not. And I guess really early war was when the Germans were
at their height, yeah.
The best training, of course the equipment wasn't as developed yet. Maybe Germans aren't for me in early war. Maybe it's something else. Like, I always sort of said I'd do French.
You love your Italians. Why don't you go Italians early war?
They suck.
Oh, you can have cavalry. They do it mid-war, don't they? You can paint all those sort of feathers on their hats for the cavalry guys. Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah. No, if I was to do early war, I'd do something different that I wouldn't do in other ones. So like Polish, maybe.
Yeah. They have the Fallschirmjäger in Crete, if that tickles your fancy.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But not saying I won't play mid-war, but I mean, if there's a tournament or something.
So I think what we've established here, Harry, is we need to have an early war tournament, and so he can rush down to tactics.
We need to start shaking the tree for who organised that? Was it Corey?
Corey and
Dan?
I think Dan did the one before then.
Yeah, we might have to shake their tree and see what we can do.
All this talk about it just makes me want to play early war.
Oh man, for early war, I really, really want some Italian tanks for my Australians.
Yes.
M1139s, those sort of things, but you can't get them now.
You have to get the Rue decal as well and put that on there. That'd look awesome.
Oh yeah, I can get hold of those. That's no problem.
I'd love to see that.
I wonder if Forged in Battle make M1139.
Maybe they do. There was actually a guy in Italy who contacted me who's doing some 3D printed stuff, who had a lot of Italian.
I reckon that'd be the way to go, Harry. If you really wanted those M1139s.
Wouldn't take long to print them either, because there's not actually much resin involved.
No.
Yeah.
So
just dangle the carrot.
I think that's early war fairly well covered. And thank you, Adam, for being our crash test dummy for getting an early war list together. So in other news this week, the Australian distributor finally got some bulged German stuff in. So if you are an Australian player who hasn't bought them direct from Battlefront or from Blitz and Pieces in Singapore or wherever else you buy them from, they are available. As soon as I found out they were there, I have ordered some Yag Tigers and some Tiger 2s for review. So Fog of War's been a bit quiet, but I'll have to dust off my review skills and get that stuff happening. So has anybody else ordered some stuff? I had some Fallschirmjäger assault rifle guys actually drop into that order as well, just by accident, because they were there.
And you hate when
they fell in.
They were in the cart suddenly, and no, I've already put my credit card in.
Oh well, whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
What am I getting? I had an order from Battlefront, and a lot of the stuff I've already got. So I was doing that Volks Grenadier. So I'm getting a lot of the tokens, like the 653 Schwer Panzerjäger token set with 277 Volks. I got another NW42 Nebelwerfer. Because they're hard to get a hold of these days. The plastic kit does the 15 centimeter one, but not the 21.
Yeah.
So I got another one of them. Not because I needed it right now, but I thought in the future I might need it. So
Just in case.
yeah, just
Off
in case.
camera, you can't see his storage container full of like
You probably
20
can
of the
see.
same
You
models.
probably can see the storage containers actually behind me.
And I must say, my hand hesitated over the add to cart button for the Hummel and Hornice plastic kit as well. I really want to review that.
That looked good.
I've got 8 Hornices, and I just thought, well, but I haven't got, and you can only use 4.
Maybe I've got an elderly relative somewhere I could sell so that I can afford one. But
I think there's a list. There's a list in the bulge book where I think you can use 8. There's one command card list or a list you can use 8 Hornices.
But 8 of those will cost you 1,500 or 100 points, whatever.
Yeah.
I think about 30 something points each. So you're looking at 60 points for 8 of them or something. But that's that's the only time you can use more than 4. So I don't know what I'd do with 12. I don't know.
So what about you, Kristian? Was there something out of the Bulge German stuff that you were looking forward to?
Oh, look, all of it, like you said, all of the vehicles, I think looked great.
I did get plastic Tiger 2s.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, the half tracks, triple 15 millimeter, and they look awesome.
Oh, yes. I will probably buy some of those to review at some point because they're an unusual half track with the AA mountings on them. I really want to review those.
I want the Tiger because I even heard they've got the mount for the MG42 on the back, which I think is an awesome.
On the Jag Tiger?
Yeah, the Jag Tiger, yeah.
But that didn't the Carius?
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't think any. I think you had to make your own. So I've actually got PVC like pipe to add around the exhausts as well. So I've got it all ready to go to customize it nicely. But I just money's being spent on mini aircraft at the moment. Yeah,
I have an Otto Carius, but he came in the Liberation box set in Chinese, so the only unit card I've got for him is in Chinese. So I've got the little guy on his own with a base, but the unit card for him is in Chinese, but it's got numbers on it. I'm sure I could figure it out. Get Google Translate.
Was it a good set? Fine. Was it a good set?
It was a fantastic set. It was really good.
Not like the open fire tanks, like the Sherman, that horrible Sherman sprue that they had. I think it was open fire.
That was a long time ago. That was their first foray into plastic. All the current open fire stuff and the D-Day starters, they're all good. Yeah, no, they're all fine. But it was interesting because it was the Germans and the Russians. You got German infantry, you got Russian infantry. It was a lot of fun. After I did the review, a lot of people bought it just because it was an interesting starter set to get 2 people started with 2 forces people were interested in.
Sounds like it.
No, it was a lot of fun.
All the people to choose, though. I wonder why he made the special character without his tank.
Yeah, that's true, because although I think it's him earlier in his career.
Right, so it's Tiger.
He was in a Tiger.
Yeah, and there are Tiger 1s in the starter kit.
Okay.
So it's him in a Tiger 1.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a famous battle where him and his tank wingman, can't remember whatever, took on a whole of T-34s and came out. So, yeah.
Because the Liberation box set was actually linked to a Chinese movie that came out at the time. That's what the box set was linked to. I haven't seen it, but I saw some trailers for it.
No, don't worry about it.
My Chinese, my Mandarin's not up to it.
No.
It's just lots of... Oh, look, it wasn't bad, but yeah.
You could watch the movie, Harry, and work out what the card says.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have to figure that out. Oh, dear. Anyway, we should probably wrap this up. We're 10 minutes over time again, but we always have a lot of fun. Look, I hope everybody found that interesting. We haven't figured out what we're going to do for next time. Maybe we should do 1/44th scale aircraft, and we'll go through plastic aircraft kits for In my case, Team Yankee.
Are you
In your
sponsored
guys'
by them?
cases.
You keep showing those.
I do. I
kits.
keep showing the Edward stuff. There you
Yeah.
go.
So do they all come in? Does Edward all come in a packet like that, or
No, they've got boxes.
They do
Right.
have
Got one in a
boxes.
box. But I think Edard in that scale come with the canopy masks. So if you
From the
you're
Czech
like
Republic.
me and you want the clear canopies, they have the masks for airbrushing. I believe.
Oh, really?
I know some of them do.
can't you
But
just
no-
cut out tiny bits of tape?
I'll
It's
wave some
difficult.
Academy stuff there so that you just know I'm not
Yeah.
sponsored by
probably-
the Czech
You should
Republic.
probably wave some Flames of War stuff just so people remember that what we're
That
actually
that's what
talking
this.
about.
Yeah. Okay. And Samurai says the Tamiya 100. So I'll have to see. I'll have to
Yeah, I'm going to look at those. Yeah.
do a bit of a crawl through eBay tonight and see if I can find any. Built the F-16 by Trumpeter. It was nice. Good, because the F-16 by Academy looks like it was carved out of soap by a chimpanzee. So, yeah. It's,
Yeah,
If
I
you
really
wanna
wish
see-
they. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I
Go
was
on.
gonna- I was going to say, I really wish they'd do in Team Yankee proper Wild Weasel teams.
ooh, that would be fun.
I always thought that was such a ballsy, you know.
What,
mission.
actually specialised anti-air?
Yeah, and do you know what
Stuff.
the patch says for those guys? I'm pretty sure it's something like "You've got to be shitting me." Yeah, so it's Wild Weasel, then with the weasel, and then underneath it's got YGBSM, and that
Oh,
stands
right.
"You've got to be shitting me,"
Shitting me.
because
yeah,
they're
fair
like,
enough.
"You want us to do what?" Like two guys, one guy literally goes off and baits
Yeah.
the SAM site to light up its radar, while the other one sits back with an anti-radiation missile. You know,
Yeah.
crazy. Because I think that's when they explained to the colonel or something what they wanted to do in Vietnam. He's like, "You've got to be shitting me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let them shoot at me and then he can have a go.
Mm.
So Droxlet says he's looking forward to Team Yankee Red Dawn, so that'll be Wolverines. Yeah, that would have to be coming up soon. Maybe we should talk about Eastern Front next time, because I didn't review that in the end because it ended up in my spam filter until the day before the embargo finished. It's like, oh, they did send me a copy to have a look at.
With
Oh, great.
Bulge or Bagration?
Eastern Front.
Eastern Front.
So the
mid-war.
compilation one,
Oh,
the
that,
mid-war
sorry.
compilation. Yeah.
Not come out yet. Soon, TM. Well, that's actually
No, it's
coming
everywhere.
out.
No, you can buy it from the Australian distributor, for God's sake.
Eastern Front.
Amazingly.
compilation.
Yeah, the compilation book.
Already?
It's meant to be. It looks
Yep.
like a huge book as well. But yeah, it's
Yep.
maybe for next time.
I don't think they're supposed. It's not released yet.
Yeah, it got released ages ago, I think. Anyway, I could be wrong. I could be talking out of my ass, but
No, it's not. It's the sale doesn't start till the 13th of August, so it's tomorrow. So
all right. I'm going to have to go back onto Aetherworks' website because,
I'm
maybe it's
looking right
pre-orders.
Pre-order,
It's
not
available.
yet.
Pre-order. Okay, fair
Because
enough.
I've written some articles for them, Harry, and they're not released yet. So I'm pretty sure.
Adam's starting to. You can see Adam getting like, how did he get it before me?
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so Victor's asking Red Dawn coming in fall.
Yeah.
Look, we don't ask when stuff is coming from Battlefront in the current environment. It comes when it comes. They give you the best estimate and they try and keep
Yeah.
you up to date with it, but it's just weird.
It-
And I'm still painting my studio, so if it's held up for a little bit longer, I might have a new studio to actually work in.
Yeah,
We're all
Because-
looking forward to seeing it, mate.
So I think
I got all the white paint off me because I'm at the primer sealer stage for the Gyprock at
Oh,
the moment.
nice.
So I think as far as future releases for Battlefront, Eastern Front's the next one, obviously, and then we've got British Bulge at some point, and
That'd be
Red
nice.
Dawn,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yankee,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure what's after that.
Man, I am going to spend a lot of money on that Wolverine stuff for things that I'm not going to field. BDV, that kind of stuff. I'm just going to have to buy those.
Found something on the internet, and it's to do with Wolverines.
All right. This has got to be the last thing because we're now 15
Yeah,
minutes over time.
The
Oh,
the
the
Maccas-
objective, the
the
upside
Maccas
down
objective.
McDonald's thing.
Yeah. Come out.
Yeah, well, you've got connections that some of us
I
don't have.
know. He's just showing off now.
No, it's on eBay. I paid way too much for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a nice resin, and the guys are thermoplastic, which is
Not nice.
but
Ooh, BMD.
yeah,
BMD 1 or 2? What's the gun on the front?
it's a rocket. Is a spandrel?
Yeah, that's a... no, that's the earlier Saga.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's Saga and the 73mm
Yeah.
low-pressure gun. Yeah.
So yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's
there you
cool.
go. There you go. There's some Red Dawn for you.
All right. Well, that's definitely and absolutely us now, guys. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed looking at early war. If you've got any suggestions about what the heck we should talk about next time, we're doing about one of these a month, which is working out pretty good. If you want to see them more often, please send money in the mail. But suggestions for topics would be good. So it's always hard thinking about what we want to do. But I really enjoyed this, and thank you guys for coming along.
Yeah, thanks,
been
guys.
great.
That's awesome.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, guys.